On 11/11, a blazing red celestial body tore the sky open, kicking off the apocalypse game. Humanity was demoted to NPCs under brutally cold rules. No class chosen in 5 seconds meant zombie life dying game, and you're deleted for real. Amid blood and screams, an ordinary teen named Yun-Ki stepped in. Fate handed him the SS-ranked Yuming Knight class, branded with a death mark that erases body and soul. Reality warped into a battlefield where he had no choice but to climb to the top. The story began precisely at 11/11 on 11/11 of the Alliance calendar. Opening scene, a pack of grotesque, bloodthirsty zombies howling. Lanxing plunged into hell as the undead spread despair everywhere. In the chaos, a helpless girl searched desperately for escape. She screamed and ran, sweat pouring down her face. Luoshin sprinted toward a warehouse, clinging to the hope of surviving and seeing her parents again. Tears mixed with terror as her trembling legs nearly gave out. She watched a coworker get torn apart, sending her horror skyrocketing. The dying man urged her with his last breath to run. Shock paralyzed Luoshin, dropping her to the ground. The monster turned back, red eyes blazing as it approached. It lunged like a storm of death. In despair, she screamed for help and shut her eyes, awaiting doom. A lightning-fast figure suddenly appeared. Yun-Ki leapt high, his weapon flashing cold light. He materialized behind the zombie. One clean slash later, the monster split in two and collapsed in blood. Killing intent flared in his eyes as he faced the horde. The system coldly announced rewards for slaying a low-tier zombie. Luoshin stood frozen, stunned by the scene. Her savior stood tall before her, so unreal she doubted her eyes. Another zombie screeched and lunged from behind. Yun-Ki stayed calm, steel gleaming along his blade. Seizing her crouched panic, he delivered a decisive strike and took the monster's head. The system emotionlessly granted more points for another kill. Knowing time was short, he pulled her up and urged her to run. She hurriedly agreed. They dashed through death itself, leaving the howls behind. While running, Luoshin shakily asked if the apocalypse was real. Yun-Ki replied calmly, unsure if this was dream or reality. Glancing at the pursuing monsters, his gaze turned icy and stern. Yun-Ki introduced himself as 20-year-old young Master Yun, once carefree, now forced into disaster. Minutes earlier, he had walked into work like any normal employee. His morning smile had been bright and full of life. Luoshin approached him blushing, asking for a ride home over prophecy fears. He froze, brushed it off as old apocalypse nonsense, and she awkwardly agreed. He teased whether she was truly scared, and she shyly nodded. Though she acted worried, she secretly celebrated the excuse to get close. Suddenly, he joked loudly in front of the entire office, shocking everyone. Coworkers instantly volunteered to escort her, leaving her flustered. Luoshin inwardly called him a rigid man doomed to loneliness. Yun-Ki casually returned to his seat and set down his luxury briefcase. With a faint smirk, he treated the apocalypse as life's favorite punchline. His mind drifted back 10 years when Titan warned Lanxing would perish on 11/11/1, terrifying humanity. Automated aircraft blared urgent orders while the military demanded immediate lockdown. On the streets, people debated anxiously, some rushed home, others chose to face death indoors. For 10 years, prophecies kept coming and failing, leaving humanity with pointless paranoia. The next day, broadcasts lifted the lockdown, annoying citizens who realized the prophecy was a cosmic joke. On the street, a couple held hands as the boy cheekily used World's End as a movie date excuse, and the girl happily agreed. Back in the present, his eyes flashed with mystery as he smirked, muttering he had no time to care. Before him lay a silent ancient sword radiating millennium-old aura, like the treasure he'd long sought. A coworker teased him for collecting models again, leaving him speechless at the absurd comparison. The note said it was the G-Me blade forged from Titan alloy, sharp enough to slice iron like mud, a banned weapon signed by Yun-Shi, stunning him. Frowning, he wondered how such a deadly item was delivered so smoothly. Flipping the letter, he read a complaint about his 3-year absence, jolting him at how fast time flew. Memories flooded back into his mind. He recalled leaving home with a suitcase, fleeing to District 105 to escape a predetermined life, living alone for years, now vowing to stop running. His resolve hardened. He'd return home after collecting his paycheck. Suddenly, a piercing alarm blared through the building, freezing the entire company. The relentless noise made him jolt and scan around in confusion. The space ignited in a violent crimson glow. Shocked eyes turned skyward, and he followed. A blazing, abnormal red meteor tore into the atmosphere before him. The office panicked. Some feared it was Titan's prophecy. Others begged to leave work and flee home. Then a cold voice echoed worldwide, declaring the apocalypse game begun and stripping humanity into monsters and NPCs. The voice announced a 24-hour startup phase to earn points and stats before the real game, where death meant true death. His face darkened as he wondered who the real players were. System panels shimmered before all humans, locking traditional communication, leaving only the world channel, and ordering class selection within 5 minutes. His detailed status screen appeared: Novice tier, rising stats by level, points for advancement, base strength, agility, spirit, physique, empty class, and skills like a perfect RPG clone. The interface prompted him to choose his development path. Touching the panel, he reasoned that in early chaos, brute force builds meant better survival. The warrior class appeared: gleaming armor, sharp weapons, strength-focused stats, bonus melee damage and speed. Next came mage, favored by females, spirit-based with superior casting speed. Last was knight, valiant and sturdy, physique-based with strength synergy, boosting defense and reducing bodily strain. Stroking the sword on his back, he mused that both knight and warrior suited the weapon. Suddenly the blade blazed brilliantly, releasing a mysterious aura. The system trembled, announcing he possessed special energy and granting the ultra-rare unique class Yuming Knight. He froze, hardly believing he'd obtained such a top-tier class. His eyes beneath the armor gleamed with unreadable light. The interface detailed that the class focused on physique while blending strength, spirit, and speed. A passive skill, Death Withering, appeared. Each strike marked enemies, hindering healing, weakening stats after death, even erasing foes from both reality and game, scaling with level. Reading it, he smirked in awe. Strong enough, and even players could be erased, a delightful system loophole. Before he could recover, a notice announced a rare talent. Unlocked, he could mark 3 targets for massive power boosts, even 100 if fixed, with a monstrous cooldown. He laughed in delight, eyes shining, feeling this newbie gift was blatant cheating. As he basked in it, the system declared class selection over and the game starting in seconds. Panic exploded. Many hadn't chosen, thinking it a glitch as the countdown hit 5. It ticked to 4, then 3. Chaos and furious cries about unfairness filling the air. The system kept counting coldly while he calmly gazed out the window, as if expecting this script. The final chime rang, heralding the apocalypse era. Instantly, those without classes collapsed, vomited blood, and turned into zombies. A terrified girl staggered back, trembling and begging them to stop scaring her. A bloodthirsty zombie lunged, pinning her as her screams echoed. Before everyone's eyes, it bit deep into her, ending her life in moments. Horror engulfed the office. Screams, frantic escape, the workplace becoming a slaughterhouse. One by one, ordinary people transformed, eyes clouded with endless hunger. Realizing the danger, he muttered that these zombies might be contagious. One charged, jaws wide, to tear apart an unlucky man. The man fled in terror but couldn't outrun the monster. Luckily, he slashed across, stopping the attack at the brink of death. He shouted for the man to run, and the man bolted without hesitation. The zombie grew fiercer, eyes gleaming with bloodlust. Grabbing Luo Xin's hand, he pulled her down the corridor as she urgently guided the way. She suddenly froze, face drained of color at a strange sound ahead. Trembling, she warned him of something unusual in front. Tightening his grip on the sword, eyes icy, he charged with a battle cry only to find not a zombie. Instead, a panicked man knelt begging. It was Liu Yang, making him halt mid-strike. Liu Yang looked up, pale and still shaking. Not wasting time, he dragged Luo Xin away, warning Liu Yang not to pull stunts like that again. Liu Yang snapped back angrily, cursing them for abandoning a teammate. He coolly mocked Liu Yang's past sins, stealing credit and ruining others. Exposed, Liu Yang flushed red with hatred and hissed in rage. Unmoved, he left with Luo Xin while Liu Yang begged to join, boasting he was a knight too. Luo Xin hesitated, glancing at him, suggesting another knight could help. He replied coldly that power couldn't mask rotten character. Failing to persuade them, Liu Yang grabbed a crude weapon and roared for revenge. He swung wildly as Luo Xin warned in panic, yet he already held full control. Calmly turning, he steadied his sword. One precise strike left Liu Yang clutching his stomach and vomiting. A foul stench rose from the spreading mess on the floor. At that moment, a zombie silently appeared behind Liu Yang, ghastly eyes locking on them. Liu Yang turned ashen and screamed for help. The zombie was faster, shredding him instantly. He coldly ordered retreat while Luo Xin followed reluctantly, asking why he hadn't saved him. Suddenly, he stopped in the corridor. With stern eyes, he declared useless mercy had no place in chaos. When he turned back, his aura shifted, radiating chilling resolve. Outside, the city looked like hell, former glory replaced by ruins, blood, and death. On the streets, waves of zombies crawled up, howling as they hunted. Walking the corridor, he coldly warned Luo Xin to drop her Nadva thinking. She froze, mind tangled and speechless. With time tight, he urged finding safe shelter before being surrounded. As they ran, a nearby door suddenly burst open. Luo Xin's acquaintance, Ra, appeared and frantically called her name, making her cry out in surprise. Outside, pounding and zombie howls still thundered. Entering the room, he calmly scanned every corner with icy eyes. He sensed something off. Such a crowded company, yet only 7 survivors remained. Indeed, just 7 people huddled inside the cramped room. Fear and exhaustion were written on every face. Jia hugged her knees, sobbing about the world's cruel flip. A female employee wailed to go home while a trembling man muttered that being alive was enough. Another man slammed the table, blaming Ra for letting more people in and worsening the danger. It was the director Tao Yujian, roaring to throw others out to save himself. His venom sparked Jiajian, the security guard, to leap up in fury. He silently recalled Jiajian shoving others earlier to escape, his gaze turning colder as Jiajian kept shouting. Hearing this, Tao Yujian grew harsher, accusing the newcomers of possible infection. He stayed silent, observing sharply while Jiajian cursed loudly. As Jiajian grabbed Yujian's collar, raging about past oppression, Yujian threatened to fire him. In the apocalypse, the threat was laughable. Zhao Jian snarled that if treated like a monster, he'd become one, terrifying Yujian into begging. Amid their struggle, glass shattered with a piercing crash. Zhao Jian hurled Yujian toward the window. The man screamed in horror. It was the 17th floor. Seeing things spiral, he tightened his grip on the sword, ready to act. Yujian pleaded desperately, but Zhao Jian roared and forced him over. Luo Xin screamed, unable to bear it. She hurriedly confessed she was a mage with holy light, able to heal and halt infection, begging Zhao Jian to calm down. He inwardly cursed her recklessness for revealing such a crucial secret. Silence fell, calculating eyes turned to her, and he felt a chill. Internal threats were worst. Yet she bravely stepped toward Zhao Jian, deepening his worry. Zhao Jian paused, asking if she truly was a mage. She nodded firmly, believing her power could prevent tragedy, while Yujian begged to be healed. Instantly, Zhao Jian's lips curled in a sinister smile. Without hesitation, he shoved Yujian off the 17th floor. His eyes gleamed cruelly, seizing the chance to reshape fate. Yujian screamed in his final seconds, helpless before death. Luo Xin turned pale, too frightened to watch. He stood silent, sensing events had gone far beyond expectations. A heavy thud echoed as Yujian's body hit the ground, bursting into blood. Luo Xin staggered back, stammering why he did it. Zhajian sneered coldly that he simply hated the man. She protested weakly that it was still a human life. He laughed disdainfully as his body bulged with muscle. The system announced him a level 1 warrior. Zhajian laughed wildly, declaring this just the start had ruled the apocalypse. Watching him grow more savage, he reflected that when order collapses, human cruelty outstrips monsters. Zhajian swaggered over with a lewd grin, boldly demanding Luo Xin be his wife. Luo Xin paled and stepped back in panic, flatly refusing. Yunqi swiftly moved in front of her like a human shield. He flicked his sword with neat basic moves, cold steel flashing. Zhajian paused suspiciously, asking if Yunqi also wanted the girl. Calm as ever, Yunqi shifted to attack stance, saying he only valued her skills. Inwardly, he calculated Luo Xin's holy light made her prime healing support. Blocked, Zhajian smashed a fire extinguisher and roared if they feared death. He spun around, red eyes glaring at Yunqi like a beast. With a deep breath, he lifted the extinguisher and charged, billowing to crush him. Yunqi reacted instantly, sword raised to parry. A flicker of surprise crossed his eyes, sensing something off. He spotted blood at Zhajian's waist, worrying about infection. Zhajian's eyes grew cloudy and mutated, making Yunqi ponder Physica-based transformation speed. Wasting no time, he struck hard and knocked the weapon away. Before Zhajian could react, Yunqi dashed forward to eliminate the threat. The blade sliced cleanly through Zhajian, tearing the air. Blood sprayed violently, turning the room gruesome. Even the sturdy extinguisher was split in two like paper. Thin white mist drifted, tightening the tension. In a few crisp moves, he ended Zhajian, drawing a complicated look from Luo Xin. The other three stood frozen, horrified at the killing. Luo Xin silently watched Yunqi's resolute back, unable to look away. She then quietly reminded herself never to be Nadvi again. Seeing their fear, Yunqi knew he now held the initiative. After a pause, he swept a cold gaze around and asked sternly if anyone else wished to compete. Jia hurriedly denied it. The other two echoed that they just wanted to live. He nodded lightly and sheathed his sword with simple yet oppressive grace. Calmly, he assigned Luo Xin to heal the others. She cast magic at once, gentle light wrapping wounds as she carefully instructed them. Meanwhile, Yunqi stayed silent, eyes fixed on a computer screen. Remembering something crucial, he pulled out his phone to check signals. Only no service appeared, earning him a disappointed sigh. Turning thoughtful, he realized the game's world channel was the sole bridge. Opening it, he saw countless pleas, arguments, and rally calls. Frowning, he concluded most people were left to fend for themselves. Resolute, he closed the chat window, gaze firmer than before. The system displayed his profile: Novus Huming Knight, balanced stats, rare talent boosting non-combat gains, hinting vast potential. Yet the line compatibility 10 puzzled him deeply. Analyzing calmly, he found most stats clear except compatibility. Trusting his rare talent, he chose patience over haste. After deliberation, he invested points into resource gain, prioritizing faster accumulation. The system confirmed. Yunqi smiled, confident this edge would outpace others. Luo Xin finished healing, exhausted and hungry from drained energy. Yunqi scanned the empty room, no food, no ammo, while the others forced uneasy reassurance. He realized less than a day remained before countless players arrived, and strong classes would become terrifying threats. Imagining Lanqing drowning in slaughter within 20 hours, even worse than zombies, he steeled his resolve. Drawing his sword, steel gleaming coldly, Yunqi strode out, determined to farm as many points as possible before startup ended. As he headed for the door, panic erupted. Someone trembled, asking if he really meant to go outside. Jia rushed to block him, warning that zombies lurked everywhere beyond. He stayed icy calm, uttering one curt word: move. Luo Xin hurriedly begged him not to risk their hard-won shelter. He replied evenly, without supplies they'd die anyway. He'd hunt zombies if they preferred waiting for death. Locked the door. Jia snapped angrily, claiming Stain put beat suicidal heroics. The other two chimed in, terrified of monsters and lacking weapons. Yet he advanced. Luo Xin clutched him, hoping the army would soon rescue them. Yunqi ignored her pleas, eyes cold, doubting any rescue during game launch. Before he spoke further, strange noises thundered outside. He and Luo Xin froze, staring skyward in shock. Numerous aircraft swept overhead, lights blazing, escorting a majestic floating military skyport. From the lead helicopter, Zhao Liang, commander of Squad 3, broadcast reassurance: order restored in 3 hours, civilians moved to rooftops. Hope-ignited people cheered and rushed upstairs, seeking salvation. Zhao Liang urged the weak to hide, many wept, believing the nightmare ending. Inside, Zaza and the others beamed, convinced rescue had arrived. Luo Xin clasped her hands, joy spilling over. Mid-speech, Zhao Liang faltered, sensing something wrong in the sky. The system's icy voice declared all game interference would be erased. Instantly, every aircraft exploded into sparkling dust. Everyone, even Yunqi, stood stunned in disbelief. Metal debris rained down like a deadly storm. It slammed into skyscrapers, shaking their foundations. Within seconds, buildings collapsed in roaring blasts. Civilians fleeing zombies now screamed from falling concrete as smoke swallowed the city. Facing disaster, Yunqi led Luo Xin and the small group sprinting nonstop. Explosions chained endlessly, the world descending into hell. He drove his sword into the ground, anchoring himself amid the tremors. That bought precious seconds before the structure gave way. He pulled Luo Xin free, while Jia and the other two were trapped near death. Tears streaming, Luo Xin trembled, begging Yunqi to save her. Straining against exhaustion, he cursed the brutal starting difficulty. Suddenly, the system announced supply drops to preserve enough NPCs, ordering them to survive on their own. His brief grin stiffened as he calculated the next move. Grabbing Luo Xin's hand, he ordered her to jump on his count. She panicked at the height. Without hesitation, he held tight and lipped off instantly. Luo Xin screamed, clinging to him as her sole lifeline. On descent, he dodged debris and zombies, moving like the wind. It looked less like falling, more like dancing with death. A heavy boom met. He landed safely with Luo Xin unscathed and radiant as a protagonist, reassuring her firmly. Luo Xin slowly opened her eyes, staring ahead. Realizing she was still in his arms, she thanked him shyly. She quickly slipped down to stand on her own. She scanned the area while he strode forward without hesitation. Suddenly, she spotted a lone supply crate and cried out in delight. She realized he likely jumped because he'd noticed this drop. Awe filled her as perception and adaptability were terrifyingly sharp. A gigantic zombie suddenly appeared, towering like a walking cliff. He drew his sword at once, steel flashing as he blocked the savage blow without flinching. Without hesitation, he slashed fiercely at the charging horde. Seeing the tension spike, he stepped back to shield Luo Xin with a resolute glare. The mutant roared thunderously, rattling eardrums. Its hell summoned nearby zombies to swarm in. Luo Xin felt doom closing in, her face pale and trembling. The surroundings reeked of horror. The two were fully encircled by undead. In panic, she screamed that they were trapped. Her body stiffened, awaiting fate's verdict. His eyes, however, burned with will as he ordered her to split directions and run, terrifying her. He gave no explanation, only a glance before dashing off, signaling her to use the monsters to stall. His blade swept in powerful arcs, cutting down lunging zombies. The system flashed 100 points for a low-tier kill. He smirked and told her to remember his words while she still lagged behind. Then he deliberately drew aggro, leading the horde after him. The pressure mounted as the crisis deepened. With no choice, she bolted blindly, screaming as she fled. Tears streamed as she cried she had no idea how to kite monsters. They fought while running, he slicing any zombie that neared, keeping distance tight. Seeing her cry-run combo, he chuckled as if amused. She brightened when he rejoined her side. His steel blade flashed, darting like an arrow hunting prey. He now moved like a seasoned hunter, every strike precise. Zombies fell one after another under overwhelming force. The system chimed 300 points for 3 fresh kills. Suddenly, a fiercer wave surged in, leaving Luo Xin stunned at the endless supply. He gripped his weapon tighter and charged without pause. His cold, decisive slashes resembled death's own scythe. Monsters were dispatched in droves without mercy. After clearing them, he tilted his head, sharp gaze scanning for threats. Returning, only piled corpses and blood stench remained. Luo Xin still trembled behind. Realizing survival, she slid to the wall, panting in relief. He smirked slyly, calculating point gains and grumbling at the lack of better loot. His eyes then locked on the forgotten supply crate as he strode over eagerly. The moment his hand touched the crate, the system blazed, congratulating him on discovery, awarding 1,000 points, and suggesting a leaderboard check. He blinked in astonishment. Fang Chen 3432, Yuan Jin 3063, and Key 2040 is named among legends. In memory, Fang Chun was a war god rising from commoner to supreme commander through sheer feats. Yuan Jin was a clan leader of peerless intellect, hailed as the Alliance's brain. Seeing himself ranked beside such pillars of humanity left him incredulous. He reasoned they likely earned points via subordinates and supply looting, not just kills. When prompted to hide his name, he instantly agreed, masking his strength to avoid attention. Noticing his silence, Luo Xin asked about the crate. He replied curtly he'd check. He carefully opened it, both watching with anticipation. Inside were only supplies, health potions, strength boosters, antidotes, and a sharp dagger, no food at all. Yet his face lit up like he'd struck gold, exactly what he needed. Holding a vial, he felt satisfied knowing he could now self-heal. A fleeting thought crossed his mind with these. He might not need a fragile companion, making Luo Xin uneasy at his cryptic smile. He suddenly senses something's off in the air. While distracted, a zombie lunges, but he whips out his sword just in time. The monster grins creepily, cloudy eyes locked on him like bad Wi-Fi. Sensing danger, he yells for Luo Xin to run, and she bolts while telling him not to die stupidly. He yanks his weapon free, steel flashing and making the foe flinch. After a deep breath, he delivers a powerhouse slash. The blow sends the bulky creature flying backward. It roars and springs up again like an angry spring. It charges at terrifying speed, ready to shred him on the spot. Horror flickers in his eyes as sharp claws come crashing down. At the last second, he twists away and dodges a fatal hit. Chaos erupts, deafening noise and dust swallowing everything. Even so, he retreats step by step, keeping his fighting spirit lit. He quickly judges that this foe is leagues above ordinary monsters. Though small, its insane strength makes him suspect it's evolved to a new tier. Without hesitation, he summons his special weapon, cold steel gleaming. He injects a boost serum, bracing for a battle he knows won't be easy. The system announces all stats up 20 for 10 seconds. Seeing the short duration, his stunned and bitterly concludes it's bargain bin junk. Right then, the monster roars and charges like a nightmare on legs. With no way out, he grips his sword and meets it head-in. A thrust through its shoulder knocks it to the ground. But that only drives it crazier, bloodless blazing in its eyes. It grabs the blade tight, refusing to let him pull it free. At the same time, it slashes his face, drawing bright red blood. From behind, Luo Xin watches in horror and screams his name. Forced against the wall, he strains to withstand the brutal assault. Panic flickers across his face as he desperately searches for an escape. The monster pins him with overwhelming strength, nearly rendering him helpless. Despair flashes in his eyes, his buff's gone, and he didn't grab more items in time. Gritting his teeth, he eyes the open supply crate, itching to reach it. Suddenly, the monster's roar shakes the entire space. He clenches his jaw and decides to gamble. Without overthinking, he punches its face and drives his blade straight into its body. Seizing the moment, he yanks the weapon free. He dashes forward, leaving the staggering monster behind. The supply crate is now his one and only goal. But the monster predicts his move and rockets after him at absurd speed. At the critical moment, a shout rings out and 2 serums fly his way. He catches them on reflex, eyes wide in shock. It's Lu Xin. She risked herself to grab the crate and toss him support drugs, earning a whole new level of respect. She doesn't stop, bravely drawing a dagger to face the monster. Trembling in fear, she screams and flails her blade to distract it from him. Tears stream down, yet she stands her ground in desperate defiance. Her reckless courage makes the monster hesitate in surprise. Spotting the chance, he halts and prepares to counterattack. Without delay, he injects both serums, eyes gleaming with pride and astonishment at her bravery. Realizing he has the bigger threat, the monster spins back with a furious roar. But now his aura surges as he advances like the true predator. The system declares 20 full boost for 10 seconds plus greatly reduced pain. He lifts his head, icy eyes brimming with challenge and zero patience left. He shouts boldly that the next 10 seconds will prove his manhood. The monster goes berserk, claws slicing down fast enough to tear the air. Yunki steadies himself, grips his weapon tight, and charges. His fierce slash cuts clean through the zombie, catching it off guard. He steps back slowly, eyes cold, knowing it's not finished just yet. Rising his sword high, he delivers a lethal backstab from behind the monster. The sharp steel cleaves clean through, splitting its body and dropping it hard. Even torn in half, the creature howls with pure resentment. Lu Xin rushes over in panic, asking about Yunqi's condition. She immediately casts a healing spell, light soothing his wounds and his nerves. Calmly feeling his strength return, he notes her rapid improvement. He recalls her trembling yet brave dagger assist, officially upgrading his opinion of her. While healing him, her heart churns, realizing he chose to protect her instead of ditching her. Remembering him shielding her from a fatal blow, she vows to fight beside him from now on. When she finishes with a smile, he admires the closed wound, deciding her ability is worth more than any loot. He resumes moving forward. He picks up the small dagger left on the ground. Handing it to her, he insists she personally finish a zombie, despite her visible fear. With a stern look, he declares only self-training ensures survival, forcing her to face reality. Hearing that, she grips the dagger tighter, determination igniting within. Regaining composure, she steps toward the snarling creature. She holds the dagger firmly, refusing to let go. Shouting to hype herself up, she stabs straight into the weak spot on its chest. Blood sprays, clear sign it's game over. The creature lets out a final desperate roar and collapses lifelessly. The system flashes Lu Xin killed a level 5, earning points in beginner healing skill. She happily shares the reward and thanks Yunqi, leaving him utterly stunned. He drops to his knees in mock despair, mourning the massive points that could have been his. Seeing him wail dramatically, she worries, but he awkwardly blames it on exhaustion. Quietly regaining composure, he scans the area, vowing to guard this treasure from thieves. Decisively, he pulls her away, saying they must find safety since supplies are nearly gone. But she stays put, making him frown in confusion. Her eyes sparkle as she points ahead, claiming she knows a supply-rich location. They soon reach a ruined urban zone, corpses scattered and dried blood everywhere. She gasps, realizing a brutal battle once took place here. He nods but warns to stay alert for lurking threats. Hiding to observe, he freezes upon realizing it's Lulone residential complex, her former home. Caught off guard by his question, she stammers. He smirks, saying he heard coworkers mention it. Blushing, she admits she wants to check on her parents and reveals her mom hoards natural food supplies. Turning shyly away, she softly suggests he could settle with her family if he wants. He barely reacts, instead calculating the value of loot in this zombie-cleared zone. After weighing options, he urges moving out, and she eagerly leads the way. Suddenly he stops, grabs her hand, and sternly asks if she remembers his warnings. She smiles confidently and recites his lesson in the apocalypse. 3 types must never be provoked. First, assassins, close combat experts with armor piercing and enhanced skill effects. Next, sharpshooters, the deadliest with firearms, 1 bullet can end you, boasting extreme accuracy. Lastly, beast tamers, commanding battle pets and boosting stats upon summoning. The more she thinks, the more puzzled she is why half of the 6 base classes are so terrifying. He agrees, stressing that sharpshooters are especially lethal. 1 slip, and you're dead before you know it. Before finishing his sentence, he's horrified to see a red laser dot locked on his chest. Reacting instantly, he sidesteps as a bullet grazes past his skin. Realizing the attacker is a sharpshooter, Hez shaken while Luo Xin cries out in panic. Another bullet whistles in from afar, laser locked on him again. A life-or-death instinct surges, cold sweat soaking his back. The hidden gunman calmly reports to his superior about spotting 2 living corpses. Yunqi sighs inwardly. Of course, the thing he feared shows up right on cue. Facing death, he and Lu Xin raise their hands, insisting they're just unlucky passersby. The sharpshooter coldly orders them to prove they're still human if they want to live. Yunqi blinks, muttering how exactly one proves they're not undead. As they panic, a mutation suddenly crawls out from under a car. Redeed and snarling, the monster locks onto them like fresh meat. Without hesitation, he swings his treasured sword and kills it instantly. The system pops up 100 points for slaying a low-level zombie. He smirks, building trust while farming points. Efficient multitasking. His blade spins nonstop, clearing more zombies and calling Luo Xin to join the free points event. Though trembling, she nods and draws the small dagger he gave her. Gathering courage, she stabs a nearby zombie hard. The system notifications stack up as their points skyrocket. Watching this, the sharpshooter storms out, shouting at them to cut the act. Yun-ki stops and studies the newcomers, while Lu-sin blushes at being called his girlfriend. The sharpshooter orders his team to check them for infection. Observing closely, Yun-ki immediately senses tight discipline in the squad. Some members stand guard with guns firmly in hand. Others are mages casting supportive light spells. He concludes they're a coordinated unit, mostly sharpshooters, plus mages, knights, warriors, and beast tamers, military trained for sure. After thorough inspection, a young woman reports they're both uninjured. The sharpshooter smirks, saying they're lucky to run into the law enforcement squad. Surprised, Yun-ki steps forward to confirm if they're city security forces. The man proudly explains they're led by Captain Han, who seized an armory, built defenses, and rescued civilians, timing that Yun-ki met them just before withdrawal. Hearing this, Yun-ki sighs, finally understanding why the streets were corpse-filled yet people-free. Suddenly, steady footsteps echo from behind. A cold-faced man appears and the squad snaps to attention, saluting Captain Han. It's Han Yi, leader of the law enforcement squad, walking straight toward Yun-ki. Without small talk, he states his identity and demands why they're here. Luo-sin steps up anxiously, asking about Lulon Complex and her parents. Han Yi's expression darkens. He says the area is extremely dangerous, survival unlikely. His words hit Luo-sin like thunder, leaving her frozen in disbelief. She nearly collapses, but Yun-ki catches and steadies her. Calm despite the tension, he questions Han Yi's basis for declaring the area doomed. The vice captain angrily scolds him, but Han Yi signals him to stand down. Gazing at the smoke-covered complex, Han Yi explains communication once existed but went silent half an hour ago. Most zombies surged from Lulon, proving it collapsed far beyond what a small group could handle. Yun-ki ponders the logic, worrying Luo-sin may be too fragile to accept her parents' likely fate. Han Yi advises them to cherish their lives and not charge blindly into death. Heavy silence hangs as no one finds the right words. Suddenly, a thunderous noise erupts behind them and everyone spins in alarm. A scout reports urgently something from the north is approaching, and it's not zombies. Han Yi's eyes flash in shock. In the hazy distance appears an unbelievable sight that makes Yun-ki's eyes widen. A herd of gigantic mutated boars charges forward, roaring as if humans are their only target. Panic spreads, but Han Yi quickly regains control and orders the troops into formation. Han Yi loudly commands the sharpshooters to form ranks and raise a defensive perimeter, guns aimed in unison. He assigns knights, warriors, and beast tamers to support positions, everyone razor-focused. He then tells the rearline mages to unleash full firepower once battle starts. Yun-ki is impressed by Han Yi's slick, lightning-fast coordination. The beast herd charges fiercely. The vice captain reports they're within firing range. Without hesitation, Han Yi orders them to fire. At once, the sharpshooters unleash a deafening volley. Bullets tear through the air straight into the charging beasts. Some collapse, blood soaking the ground as smoke and chaos engulf the field. The rest don't flinch, smashing into the formation with brutal force. The vice captain panics, fearing the defense line will break. Though calm outside, Han Yi sees this his strongest firepower isn't enough. Seeing the stalemate, he orders a retreat toward the rear fortifications. The sharpshooters relay commands, firing their last rounds while pulling back. One soldier injures his leg and can't keep up. A gigantic mutated boar charges at him like his dinner. The soldier can only stare up in despair, awaiting death. Han Yi shouts his name in alarm. At the critical second, a high-pressure water blast slams into the beast and sends it flying. The injured soldier is saved by a hair's breadth. All eyes turn back in shock. It's Yun-ki wielding a high-pressure water hose as his weapon. Han Yi deeply admires the creative move and praises him. He teases Lao Wang for barely escaping death again. Thanking Yun-ki, Han Yi is met with a casual smile. Yun-ki says he just wanted to avoid blood attracting more beasts. Yet Yun-ki's eyes flicker. He regrets acting sooner than planned. Facing a sea of mutated beasts, he sighs helplessly. Han Yi signals and orders the rocket unit to prepare. The soldiers respond in unison, gripping weapons tight. The unit charges forward. Explosions shake the earth. Continuous bombardment blasts the beasts apart. Flesh and bone fragments scatter everywhere. A few mangled ones still stagger up stubbornly. Yun-ki frowns. Unless you hit a fatal weak point, these things are practically immortal. Some soldiers shout for more fire, others groan they're out of shells. Suddenly, Yun-ki's sword flashes, blocking an incoming rocket. He grabs the shell, coolly says he'll borrow it, and snatches the launcher. Without pause, he aims and fires. The rocket whistles through the air. It misses the beasts and slams into a building behind them, detonating violently. Enraged, the beasts roar and charge madly. A young soldier panics, yelling that Yun-ki missed. But the building collapses, crushing the beasts beneath rubble. Their roars weaken as they're ground to death. As dust settles, the scene clears. The battlefield is littered with boar corpses. The young soldier stammers, stunned that the beasts were stopped. Yun-ki smiles confidently, while Han Yi silently marvels at his wit. Just as relief sets in, one beast suddenly rises, eyes glowing red. Han Yi shouts a warning: there are still too many beasts left. Yun-ki quickly points at the power plant, mentioning the black smoke and the system's emergency runtime limit. Han Yi freezes, suddenly understanding. He orders the vice captain to lead troops to expose the copper core in a cable pit. Meanwhile, engine oil drips and spreads across the ground. The vice captain's team rushes into the oil slick area, tense as they prepare the new plan. The recovering beasts roar and charge again, shaking the earth. The vice captain brings the cable and urgently reports to Han Yi. Without delay, Han Yi orders the cable thrown into the water and everyone to stand clear. Following orders, the vice captain tosses it, shouting warnings about high voltage. A massive electric current surges across the ground. It shoots straight into the charging beasts before they even sense the danger. A thunderous blast erupts as the beasts convulse and howl under the electric shock. The system chimes nonstop, points skyrocketing as creatures drop one by one. Countless mutated beasts collapse, only a few left twitching. Watching this, Yunkyu thrills at the enemy's drastically weakened state. The entire squad is stunned by the devastating power of electricity. Hanyi quickly explains it works so well, because metal and salt in the water boosted conductivity after the collapse. He sneaks a glance at Yunki, admiring how fast he flipped the situation. That confident smile and sharp mind give him chills. But seeing beasts still advancing, Hanyi warns the victory is far from secured. Yunki grips his weapon and charges alongside the squad. He targets a massive redade beast that leaps down, roaring to crush him. Unshaken, he raises his shield to block. He pivots smoothly and steps back to maintain position. Grim-faced, he notes its impact force surpasses even high-level zombies. Seeing teammates struggle, he knows a shield alone won't hold long. The vice captain anxiously reports the formation is close to collapse. Eyes icy, Yunki calculates drag this out and they lose, strategy must change. Suddenly another beast charges straight at him, stones flying under its hooves. He tightens his grip and advances without hesitation. Hanyi shouts in alarm, fearing he'll be crushed instantly. Yunki replies boldly, certain he won't be the one falling. To everyone's shock, he slams his shield into the ground, sending out a shockwave. His sword gleams as he aims at the beast's weak point, lips curling mockingly. The creature stupidly barrels in, jaws wide to tear him apart. At that instant, his blade pierces through it, blood spraying. Exploiting the wound, he presses the attack without mercy. A flurry of heavy strikes finishes the giant beast. The system announces a major reward as slain a level fun mutated beast. Yunki smiles victoriously and offers a sarcastic farewell. The system continues 540 total points, revival skill unlocked. His status panel appears, detailing the Nether Knight class and attributes. The new skill allows reviving one lower-level unit, sensing its level and boosting its power limited to one at a time. Reading it all, Yunki grins like he's waited for this moment forever. Staring at the fallen beast, excitement flashes in his eyes. He decides to test it immediately, issuing a confident command. Raising both hands, he chants mysterious incantations. The beast's eyes flare crimson as eerie light bursts forth. It slowly rises, pale green aura swirling reborn. The revived beast walks straight to him, obedient. The vice captain screams in shock, thinking it survived. Amid the confusion, Yunki suddenly dashes forward. The squad freezes in disbelief. He leaps onto the beast's back, majestic as a true knight. The vice captain blurts out, calling him the Boar Knight. Yunki frowns, dismissing the ridiculous title. Still, a satisfied smile spreads across his face at his mount's strength. Raising his sword high, he charges back into battle. His blade flashes, each slash tearing through the air. Beast after beast falls to his precise strikes. The system notifications stack endlessly as points surge. Hanyi and the squad gape at the overwhelming display of power. Seated firmly atop the beast, Yunki looks every inch a war knight. The revived beast even turns on its own kind, slaughtering them. Their seamless coordination sends enemies dropping one by one. The system keeps chiming as rewards pile up. Not standing idle, Hanyi slams his sword down, ready to act. He orders the squad to hold formation and cover Yunki with remaining firepower. Bullets whistle into the beast still standing. Yunki in full Boar Knight mode keeps swinging his blade. Sharp strikes shred enemies, steel flashing through smoke and dust. Soon the battlefield quiets as the haze slowly clears. Corpses of mutated beasts litter the ground. Yunki coldly notes the tide has turned. Spotting another wave of zombies approaching, he instantly decides to act. He tells himself wiping them out is the only way to keep everyone safe. Hanyi cheers the team on, urging them to finish this and reunite with family. The squad rallies until a sudden scream cuts through. Yunki turns confusion in his eyes. Lucian, pale with fear, steps forward and he quickly asks, "What's wrong?" She breaks down crying, trembling at the horrific sight ahead. Understanding something's off, Yunki looks where she's staring. Two mutated zombies snarl and attack wildly. Luosin sobs in despair, they are her parents. Seeing her lose control, Yunki shouts for her to stop. He silently steps forward, face heavy with thought. Standing before her protectively, he says they're no longer who they were. Realizing the situation, Hanyi firmly orders an attack. The entire squad responds and charges into battle. Riding the mutated boar, Yunki dashes past Luosin's zombified parents. They are now nothing but mindless, howling monsters. He leaps high into the air amid the chaos. His mount tramples and crushes zombies below. He lands safely after the jump. Then he realizes he's surrounded by a swarm of feral undead. Talk about bad luck. Before he can react, they lunge together, catching him off guard. Suddenly, covering fire erupts, clearing a path for him. Startled, he turns to see the situation reversed. The law enforcement squad is firing nonstop in support. He looks aside and sees Hanyi charging in with shield raised. Hanyi scolds him half-jokingly for playing lone hero. Teammates laugh, saying he can't hog all the glory. Yunki laughs heartily, declaring whoever kills gets the loot. Human shouts and monster roars blend into brutal chaos. 20 minutes later, Yunki cuts down the last who dared approach. Hanyi grimly smashes monsters with his shield without pause. Corpses pile high, the once massive horde is nearly gone. Exhausted, Yunki plants his sword and exhales. The battle is finally over. Smiling, he admits he'd be dead without the squad's help. Suddenly, Luosin rushes over anxiously, asking if he has hurt and offering healing. Before he can refuse, holy light magic envelopes him and his wounds close. Seeing her red, tearful face, he realizes she fears losing the last person by her side. As his wounds nearly heal, he gently tells her to say goodbye to her parents. She stands stunned while he rises, gripping his sword and staring ahead. watching the boar crush a zombie. She's horrified to realize it's her parents. Heart shattered, she runs forward crying out for her mother. Yoon-ki stands quietly behind his earlier actions were to give her this chance. He hands her his sword, urging her onward. Trembling, she thanks him softly. Facing the roaring zombies, she steps forward without retreating. But her parents are now hollow-eyed monsters who don't recognize her. Tears stream as she grips the sword, body shaking in despair. Choking back sobs, she calls them mom and dad, saying Shez Huan Huan. Yoon-ki aches inside and offers to do it for her. Though trembling, she reminds herself she's still alive and not alone. Looking at her fallen parents, she vows to live stronger from now on. Raising the sword, she prepares to end it, telling them to rest in peace. Unable to watch, she shuts her eyes, heart slicing in pain. The blade falls, blood sprays, the roars fade, leaving tragic silence. Immediately, Yoon-ki sees his system notice his undead unit has fallen and can be revived in 3 minutes. The notification leaves Yoon-ki speechless, unsure whether to laugh or cry. Luo-sin collapses in tears, shattered after killing her own parents. Yoon-ki hesitates, eyes drifting to the boar that fought beside him. Unable to hold back, he drops to his knees, wailing brother boar, stunning Luo-sin. Through tears, he mourns how a level 5 powerhouse fell to a single blade. Meanwhile, Han-yi orders the boar corpses burned to prevent reinfection as the battlefield is cleaned. Yoon-ki reaches toward the fallen beast, crying for it to wake up. Luo-sin stares, baffled. He seems more heartbroken than she is. He awkwardly turns away. He suddenly shouts for mages to heal the wounded, snapping them both out of it. Luo-sin hurries off to help, thanking him and telling him to rest. He nods, calculating that the disciplined squad still has limits and Luo-sin's healing will draw attention. Watching her leave, he quietly forms a new plan while easing her sorrow. Suddenly, a strange voice echoes in his mind, calling him. The sound makes him freeze in shock. Looking around, he only finds Han-yi staring suspiciously. Sweating slightly, Han-yi approaches, asking what's wrong. Yoon-ki denies it and asks if he heard the voice too, confusing Han-yi. He quickly brushes it off, though his thoughts grow more chaotic. At first he thinks communication restored, but realizing only he hears it, he suspects a hidden game mechanic. The voice keeps complaining about everyone's silence, and he grumbles that the game must have added voice chat. Just then, the system screen lights up with a new notice. Multiple chat channels appear, from small groups to a world channel. He frowns, unsure why these options unlock so suddenly. A message pops up: congratulations on joining Team Demonic World Walkers 10. The notice jolts him as if dragged into an unfamiliar space. A blinding beam of light descends before his eyes. When he opens them, he's in a vast room, shadowy figures seated around a grand table. Stunned, he wonders if he's entered some mental realm. Seeing rows of NPC-like figures, his puzzled team chat wasn't even unlocked. So where did this group come from? Noticing the fixed member list, he coldly analyzes, curious what others know. Suddenly someone speaks. He looks up to a mysterious figure smiling faintly. The man calls him number 7, asking his family lineage and mentioning that item once given by his clan. Yoon-ki frowns, unsure what that item refers to. His gaze lands on the sword on the table. Perhaps the only thing his elder sister sent him hides a secret. The one in seat 5 chuckles, advising against probing identities since they may be future enemies. More confused, Yoon-ki directly asks what a demonic world walker is. The woman in seat 5 prepares to explain, but the man in seat 7 cuts in eagerly, raising his hand. He declares it's the code name for 10 holders of Titan Divine artifacts, crafted by the Titan brain to counter mutations and granted to major powers. These treasures are like special game plugins, auto-evolving, giving their owners near-invincible advantages. Hearing this, Yoon-ki studies the Blade of Oblivion, heavy-hearted that his family still entrusted it to him. Seeing him silent, seat 7 reminds him not to drift off. It's rude. Startled, Yoon-ki replies and asks about Central Capital and the Great Clans. Seat 7 says most clans recalled their disciples safely except the Shi clan, whose ancestor turned into a zombie and was slain by his own son. Yoon-ki exhales in relief at his clan's safety, though thoughts weigh on him. Seat 7 then asks about distribution rate, saying his is only 10. The system displays a glowing 10 before him. The person in seat 0.6 stayed silent, playing mysterious statue. 0.7 confirmed his 10 too, grumbling that the system gave 0 explanations. One by one, they logged off, reminding each other to share any juicy updates. Back in reality, Yoon-ki stared at the zombie pig's corpse, deep in thought. The strange meeting replayed in his mind as he concluded the Blade of Silent Extinction was basically an overpowered cheat code. Eyeing the blade, he suspected it hid some next-level super AI. Right then, a blinding light burst out dramatically. The light formed a tiny dragon that smugly said had finally figured it out. Yoon-ki froze, stammering that yes, there was a hack, thrilled and shocked at once. He quickly covered his mouth in panic, but the dragon assured him only the Titan Divine Weapons Master could see it. He asked if it was Titan's main brain, and it laughed, saying he wasn't qualified to control the core. Wearing sunglasses, it bragged that it was Titan's AI avatar named Yanzu. Hearing that name, Yoon-ki nearly laughed, then realized the Titan core must be controlled by Zhongdu's military. Half joking, he begged for a golden finger boost, but Yanzu snapped that becoming a netherworld knight with special talent wasn't random luck. It spun up a mini whirlwind, claiming it was analyzing game rules, but warned him to survive on his own until the world fully loads. After the lecture, Yanzu vanished, leaving Yoon-ki to wait for the game's official launch tomorrow. Just then, Lu Xin appeared, loudly calling his name. She approached worriedly, asking why he zoned out. With Hanner behind her, Yoon-ki brushed it off. Hanner mentioned Lu Xin had helped heal the enforcement team, and she shyly called it nothing special. He invited them to join his squad if they had no solid plans. Yunki laughed and declined, insisting he planned to leave the city. Lu Xun blushed, grabbed his hand, and declared she'd follow him anywhere. Watching them, Hanner sighed, admitting leaving the city made sense given the chaos inside. Before parting, he gave them the key to a hover bike as thanks, warning walking would take all day. Taking it, Yunki asked what Hanner would do. Hanner smiled, saying he'd live or die with his teammates. As he left, he warned them to stay human, meeting again as monsters would be awkward. Understanding his kindness, Yunki and Lu Xun simply smiled back. Once alone, Lu Xun asked why he refused the enforcement team when it seemed safer. He calmly said crowds aren't always safe with unstable rules, gatherings risk mutation, so better avoid people for now. He then asked about the farm where her mother bought vegetables, and Lu Xun confirmed she knew it. He teased that she was dragging him to meet her family, making her blush and chase him angrily. Yunki laughed, twirling the key and suggesting they find the vehicle Hanner left. They soon spotted a massive motorcycle before them. Both were stunned. Yunki had hoped for a luxury ride, not this dusty beast. The bike looked powerful, built purely for speed. He couldn't hide his excitement, showering it with praise. In the dim glow, the bike shimmered as debris floated around it mystically. Soon, Yunki was flying down the road with Lu Xun behind him, grinning wildly at the perfect machine. His over-the-top joy made Lu Xun jealous, thinking he loved the bike more than her. The moment he started and asked if she was ready, the bike shot off like lightning, terrifying her. She clung to him and screamed for him to slow down. He ignored her, roaring and accelerating harder, leaving bystanders tumbling in shock. The insane speed bent roadside trees and sent leaves swirling everywhere. He slammed the brakes before a building, making Lu Xun tremble and cling to him with eyes shut. Regaining composure, she softly said this place belonged to the farm owner her mother often visited. Suddenly, he grabbed her hand, tense, warning something was off. Right on cue, two robots emerged from the wall. More machines appeared from all sides, neatly surrounding them. The robots' blank faces and bloodred eyes made the air downright creepy. Lu Xun calmly explained the farm was fully automated now. Villagers just kicked back while machines did the work. Yunki narrowed his eyes and coldly asked if murder counted as kicking back. His words stunned Lu Xun speechless. Watching closely, he said the wind smelled like blood, and sure enough, red stains marked the robots. The machines pressed closer, the tension getting heavier. Yunki drew his weapon, relieved they had brute strength but no firearms, so at least it was a fair brawl. Lu Xun readied herself too, nodding to fight alongside him. Suddenly, a tiny mechanical bee appeared. His tail glowed with an eerie blue light. The beam hit them, startling Lu Xun, but Yunki stayed calm, sword steady, guessing the real boss was hiding nearby. The bee spoke mechanically, ordering the male to leave and the female to stay. Yunki was stunned, then instantly furious. He crushed the struggling bee in his grip. It sent out an alert signal, but he stayed livid, leaving Lu Xun gaping in shock. He roared, mocking the coward for using toys to steal people and daring him to show himself before getting crushed. The system announced he'd destroyed a boss device and earned 10 points. Yunki blinked, surprised that scrap metal paid points. Thinking fast, he guessed the farm owner had mutated into a miniboss still controlling the robots. His eyes gleamed. If one toy was 10 points, clearing the place might rocket him to the top ranks. Then he hesitated, glancing at Lu Xun, worried the hidden enemy might ambush her through the robots. She firmly declared that choosing to follow him meant no fear of sacrifice, she'd be support, not baggage, her resolve catching him off guard. He sighed, tossed the bee remains aside, saying with that spirit she deserved a long life, not death. He took out a golden glowing device, handed it to her, and told her to fire if robots rushed in. She accepted it, puzzled since guns were usually restricted but this one wasn't. Watching the robots close in, he calmly explained it was an electronic gun used on farms to suppress rogue machines. Though small, it could paralyze even giant robots, but drained energy fast and was useless on humans, so use it wisely. Lu Xun admired his know-how. Smiling confidently, Yunki boasted had been a top student at Elite Academy. Basic mechanics were child's play. He tightened his grip on the blade, ready to fight, telling her to stay safe. Lu Xun took her stance seriously. Another mechanical bee suddenly zipped in, making him wary. It landed atop a robot and taunted that their gun was useless. One shot and it's done. Lu Xun shivered, recognizing the same voice from before. Yunki clenched his weapon, eyes sharp with vigilance. The robots swelled grotesquely as villagers fled. The bee sneered that the point system was designed to turn lives into bloody entertainment. The bee transformed into a giant machine, smugly claiming it understood the organization's intent, so playing along was easy. Yunki's gaze turned icy as he muttered that besides monsters, killing people also earned survival points. The giant bee hovered above the robots, laughing madly that one village meant thousands of points, the lead robot's red eyes locking onto him. Horrified, Lu Xun gasped that the entire village had been slaughtered. How cruel. Yunki frowned, voice freezing cold, scorning someone who jumped straight to murder for points. Facing the towering robot, he hesitated briefly, then smirked and mocked that wiping out a village for a few thousand points was hardly impressive. He laughed arrogantly, claiming he ranked third with 10,000 more points than his foe. Lu Xun panicked, fearing he'd cornered himself against a lunatic. He just smiled recklessly, saying this reaction was exactly what he wanted. Yunki pointed at his chest and loudly dared the guy to kill him for the points. The bee's icy voice demanded proof, since rank 3 was anonymous. Stepping forward without breaking eye contact, he said a 10-fold point bonus pack made it easy. Not giving time to think, he slashed apart a bee and robot, telling him to check if the leaderboard jumped 10 points. The system confirmed he'd destroyed a boss-controlled unit, earning 10 points times 10. Elsewhere, a mutated figure stared at the screen, thrilled, convinced he'd struck gold. He hammered commands, ordering every robot to crush the intruder. Red lights flared in robotic eyes as they obeyed in unison. Yunqi frowned, told Lucian to retreat. She hurried to hide, urging him to be careful. Machines flooded in from all corners, sealing him in. He weaved through them, blue eyes flashing like blades. He guessed the enemy planned to exhaust him with numbers before stealing points. Classic dirty trick. Moving and slashing, he quickly felled two and roared a challenge. Another strike, another machine down, his momentum soaring. From hiding, Lucian watched with shining eyes, cheering inside. Suddenly, a robot crept behind him, raising a massive fist. The heavy blow smashed his back, pain shot through him, but he didn't cry out. He collapsed, dust billowing everywhere. His sword flew from his grip and clattered beside him. Lucian screamed his name in terror. She realized his earlier strikes hadn't destroyed their energy cores. Two robots still stood ready to finish him. The miniboss mocking voice echoed, sneering at fragile flesh challenging steel. As it prepared to claim Yunqi's points, a flash erupted mid-strike. Gritting her teeth, Lucian fired the electronic gun, dropping one robot in crackling sparks. The other turned toward her, red eyes blazing. The system warned 40 energy left, each shot drained heavily, but she had no time to think. A nearby door burst open, eerie red light spilling out. A wave of danger hit. She trembled, seeing flip-flopped feet step out. The figure, drenched in sinister red and holding a cleaver, growled he'd finish it himself. Kill Yunqi first, torment her later. Yunqi lay still, breathing faintly. Lucian shouted in panic, threatening to shoot if he touched him. The boss sneered, dismissing her useless gun and telling her to save herself. A robot suddenly lunged at Lucian. She spun in fear, eyes shut, and pulled the trigger. Blue electricity blasted out with her scream to stay back, piercing the robot and dropping it. Energy fell to 10. Chills ran through her as she feared one more shot meant none left to save Yunqi. But the miniboss loomed over Yunqi, grinning cruelly and declaring his death. At that instant, Yunqi's eyes flared brightly. The shift stunned the enemy speechless. He sprang up, gripping his blade tight. The sword shot forward as he mocked the scrap heap before him. The gleaming blade lunged straight at the miniboss. A massive object blocked it inches from the target's eye. Lucian dodged aside, frozen by the sight. A giant robot stood behind the boss, crushing the blade fragment between two fingers. Its shoulder opened, revealing an electronic cannon that locked on and fired. Energy rounds blasted from its shoulder toward Yunqi, who shouted in alarm. He leapt away as the shots hit ground and exploded violently. Retreating beside Lucian, he yelled that the motorcycle was behind. Move! They scrambled onto the bike. Yunqi started it and sped off, explosions roaring behind. She clung to him, breath shaky. He forced a smile, saying he was fine and that exposing a flaw had been bait to lure the miniboss out. He glanced at the giant robot chasing them, inwardly sighing at how close he'd come to dying. The machine roared, bulldozing everything, while the miniboss cackled inside the cockpit. The boss bragged about his invincible defenses, vowing to crush Yunqi when caught. Gritting his teeth, Yunqi sped through narrow alleys, dust billowing wildly. Clinging tight, Lucian trembled, shouting that it was a military superweapon. What was it doing in the countryside? He swerved into another alley, voice low, saying survival came first. She worried that once outside the village, they'd be easier to lock onto. Yunqi's gaze sharpened, finding the right spot was all he needed. Reaching a wide road, he suddenly cheered, realizing he was right. Ahead lay the corpse of a mutated dog. Without hesitation, he activated his resurrection ability. Blue-black light flowed into the corpse as he commanded it to rise. The dog sprang up, sprouting horns and roaring. The system confirmed the undead hound had entered battle. The motorcycle roared as Yunqi shot forward, Lucian clinging tight, the massive beast shadow chasing behind. Looking back, she realized he'd sought a corpse on purpose to summon help. Biting her lip at the towering red machine, she doubted one beast could stop it, while the pilot mocked them. As the enemy closed in, Yunqi braked suddenly. Dahai halted too. He ordered battle positions. At the command, the beast roared and charged. A violent water vortex blasted from its belly, slamming into the machine. The zombie pilot panicked, gripping controls and screaming curses. Visibility vanished and the cockpit filled with a pungent stench. Alarms blared, acid intrusion causing malfunction. The zombie cursed the beast furiously. Seizing the chaos, Yunqi dashed in with a blue lightning blade. His slash struck, sparks exploding across metal. The pilot froze in disbelief. Dahai leaped onto the severed mechanical leg. The system warned knee joint failure, forcing air intake to reroute to that weak point. The controller howled in rage. Yunqi immediately ordered Dahai to press the attack. Obeying, the beast sprang off the broken limb and lunged again. Midair it paused, then shamelessly peed straight into the engine. Emergency alarms screamed. The cockpit began venting as the pilot begged in terror. The hatch burst open. He fell out and was instantly clamped into Dahai's jaws. The system triggered automatic defense mode. The zombie shrieked, begging it to stop firing and cursing the stupid AI. The system confirmed and switched to standby. The giant machine collapsed, utterly powerless. Yunqi smirked, joking he'd thought he'd have to risk his life against scrap metal. Standing tall with sword planted, icy blue light radiated from blade and eyes. Step by step he approached, mocking the zombie for disabling his own shield and losing to his own intelligence. The zombie trembled, pleading desperately. The blue blade flared. Yunqi struck like lightning, shattering the mechanical body. Alarms wailed, core damaged, explosion imminent. The zombie screamed as his machinery fell apart. Yunqi stood atop the wreckage. The system awarded 6,000 points. Turning, he looked down at the writhing enemy. His overwhelming aura made the foe shrink, begging for mercy. Coldly, Yunqi reminded him of slaughtering innocents who never wanted to die. the zombie stammered incoherently. Unmoved, Yunki declared sharp logic beats mercy and finished him with a piercing strike. The system announced a powerful enemy defeated. Bonus points raised his total to 42,860. Sheathing his sword, he sighed he'd meant to stay Loki, but accidentally took the lead. The server revealed rankings. He stood first with 42,860, far ahead of big names with a special reward promised. He smirked triumphantly, savoring the glory. Lucian rushed over, saying the world channel was exploding. Opening it, he saw messages flooding in. An anonymous player had skyrocketed. Some hailed a savior, others feared fate chose the wrong hero. He pondered. Both the world and the Apocalypse Pilgrims group were buzzing fiercely. A question appeared in the group: was the new top player among them? The space fell silent as everyone reeled from the shocking news. Fang Qian spoke sternly, warning the real danger comes after the tutorial and urging the top player to help protect Blue Star. Yun Qi quietly observed, guessing the other top ranks were Yu Wenjun and Fang Xuan, public leaders boosting morale. As long as they stood firm, humanity had hope, but his sudden rise clearly rattled Fang Qian. A silver-haired woman declared firmly that all chosen by Titan must share the duty to protect Blue Star. Someone cut in, refusing the burden of hero, preferring safety. Yun Qi mentally labeled him a coward. Yu Wenjun loudly praised bravery, proposing 10 divine weapon holders unite to counterattack and even seize game control. Watching the debate, Yun Qi noted some had selfish motives. Picking sides too early was basically suicide. Back in reality, he told Lucian to stop reading the world chat and prepare to fight again. She was stunned, asking why not rest, but he firmly said something more urgent awaited. Night fell and Lucian happily presented some fragrant natural food. Yun Qi relaxed, realizing it was his first proper meal since the game began. She gleefully swore off dieting. Smiling brightly, she bragged about earning decent points thanks to him. She recalled his words: if she wanted to follow him, she had to grow stronger and not waste points. Back then, she charged trembling into zombies, shouting determination, earning her first system reward. The system ranked her 856. She cheered, thrilled to be on the leaderboard. Then she shyly admitted it was mostly thanks to Yun Qi protecting her. Stretching tiredly after a bloody day, she muttered about wanting a hot bath. Yun Qi smiled helplessly, thinking her carefree nature fit the apocalypse, but she shouldn't be this unguarded around men. Blushing, she teased that with him she didn't need caution, she might even welcome it. Hand on her chest, she playfully invited him to bathe together for safety. He shut it down immediately, but she kept teasing jokingly. He turned to pamper Dahai instead, saying it deserved a spa, clearly ignoring her. Annoyed, she shot him a glare and slammed the door. He sighed, thinking he wasn't a monk, but now wasn't the time to waste energy, and she was mostly joking anyway. A heaviness lingered as he realized her smiles hid grief from losing her parents. Soaking in warm water, she reflected on losing everything in a single day. Then she smiled faintly, having him by her side was some comfort, recalling his rescues, and ignored Apocalypse warnings. She felt bittersweet, thinking he was too cold, then blushed, wondering if her body could sway him. Time passed, steam filling the bathroom. She stepped out refreshed, about to call him, then froze. Yun Qi was asleep on the sofa, hugging Dahai. She grumbled, calling him heartless for choosing a dog over her beauty. Darkness slowly swallowed the house. A faint light woke Lucian suddenly. She sat up confused. Smiling, she stepped out and asked why he was up so early. It was only 5 a.m. Packing his things, Yun Qi said her timing was perfect and asked for help. She was puzzled why he was leaving. Tightening his bag, he declared they were heading to Zhongdu. Lucian panicked, arguing the farm was safer than going out. Raising 3 fingers, he said he'd considered everything. There were 3 reasons for choosing Zhongdu. Calmly, he explained the farm's supplies would only last a week. He added the game would fully start in 6 hours. Violence would spike, making relocation harder. With firm eyes, he gave the final reason: his home was in Zhongdu. He insisted on going to Zhongdu to check his family's safety, thinking of his unreachable sister and her mysterious gear. Lucian joked he must be some rich young master and feared his fiancée might assassinate her. Yun Qi sighed at her wild imagination, admitting an engagement but no feelings, urging her to pack. Once finished, they stood before a truck. Yun Qi let out a relieved breath. Admiring their prep work, both felt pumped. Dahai barked enthusiastically, boosting morale. He double-checked supplies, water, rations, fuel, sleeping bags all set. Seeing the hover bike, he valued its mobility and chose to bring it along. Preparations complete, they climbed into the truck. Yun Qi declared it departure time. He shut his phone, urging haste, only 61 minutes left. Suddenly, the system congratulated surviving NPCs and announced new game rules. Lucian grew uneasy, fearing another cruel twist. Yun Qi broke into a cold sweat, sensing trouble. The system declared 60 minutes before tutorial ends, everyone must choose a faction. Yun Qi was stunned they even had a choice. It added that only 1/10 of humanity could ally with players, excess decided by points, which could be earned by killing even Z NPCs. Yun Qi frowned angrily. Killing NPCs gave points too. He predicted chaos, civilians slaughtering each other, trust collapsing, even teammates turning foes. He looked at Lucian gravely, making sure she heard it all. She froze, a strange glint flashing in her eyes. Suddenly, she found herself in a dark, mysterious space. Panic, Lucian called for Yun Qi. A strange voice echoed as a giant hand touched her head, terrifying her. A mysterious woman smiled, claiming to be the incarnation of light hidden in the Apocalypse game. Gently, she said Lucian possessed pure light power, which summoned her. Trembling, Lucian's heart pounded, doubting the power within her. Radiant light surrounded the woman, making Lucian even more tense. The incarnation spread her arms, inviting her to join the player faction, enter the Temple of Light, and lead against darkness. Bowing her head, Lucian whispered if she could truly save Blue Star was she worthy. Conflict surged. Joining players might mean betraying humanity. The light declared light and dark coexist, sowing light is a ruler's duty. Would she bear it for loved ones? Before answering, Lucian jolted awake. Beside her, Yunki anxiously called her name. She forced a smile, saying she'd only spaced out. Yet the light's warning echoed. If exposed, her path to kingship would vanish. Remember to join the temple. She recalled the system notice and quickly mentioned the option to join the player faction. Hearing this, Yunki slammed the brakes. He stared at her seriously, asking if she truly meant to join players. She vehemently denied it, furious at the enemy who slaughtered her family, swearing never to yield. Still, the mysterious woman's image lingered, blurring truth and illusion. She turned to Yunki, curious which side he'd choose. After a pause, he bluntly answered no. She wrestled inwardly, thinking players might offer protection. He scoffed. Humans romanticize paths they've never walked. Staying with humanity might be the losing side, he said, but to players, humans are just monsters. She stared at him, stunned. His eyes burned with resolve. He'd stand firm even against players. She asked incredulously if he accepted a tragic end. He replied firmly that some people willingly chase the impossible. Lucian fell silent, realizing he'd shine brighter unburdened, yet she longed to try saving Blue Star, whatever the cost. She softly declared she'd chosen the player faction. He pondered, saying wanting safety was human nature. Her choice wasn't wrong. Stopping the truck, he told her to pack enough food and water. It had enough power to return her to the farm. Eyes brimming, she called his name emotionally. He handed her a helmet, smiling this wasn't a forever goodbye. Gently placing it on her, he joked that maybe he'd become the final boss, while she'd lead a holy light crusade to slay him. Suddenly she lunged forward and hugged him tight, freezing him briefly. Through tears, she swore that even on opposite sides, she'd never see him as an enemy. He patted her head, teasing her childishness, trusting her kindness, yet knowing their paths now diverged. He urged her to leave quickly. Players would soon flood in. Watching her vehicle fade away, he muttered it was just him and loyal to Hai. Now the dog barked in reply. He looked up now. All that remained was waiting for the game to begin. The system clock showed 39 minutes and 27 seconds. Meanwhile, Lucian sped forward alone. The countdown echoed relentlessly. 23 minutes, 21 cent 12. Yunki tracked every second. 7:59. Finally, the system Eid the Apocalypse game officially launched. Players entered. His truck sped on auto mode as he muttered there were still hidden rules. No wonder Yan Zhu couldn't analyze it fully. The system declared the tutorial over all NPCs would now be ranked by accumulated points. Details appeared. Top 1 NPCs gain the leader suffix with levels set to top 10. Player average 2. Top 5 get rare at outside top 31. The rest become elite, common, or novice village tier. Yunki guessed he qualified as leader but wondered about leveling. The system confirmed NPCs gain no EXP, only players do. He frowned. NPC levels were locked by suffix, scaling with player averages. Leftover points converted to Apocalypse coins at 101. He exhaled and opened his personal panel. Status NPC leader rank, all stats 25, level Peerless, class Death Knight, strength 52, agility 67, spirit 54, physique 54, special talent plane Deathwalker, unknown effect, specialty Death Command LV1, exclusive skill Undead Resurrection. He muttered in dissatisfaction at level 12 against level 1 players. He was basically a gatekeeping boss. News continued. 35,600 novice villages open. Players can't leave before level 10. Outside NPCs monsters entering are forcibly downleveled. He regretted players were sheltered. Suddenly, a new rule, the Origin energy system, unlocked, enabling supernatural skills through this power. He blinked, puzzled. The mechanic explained all NPCs and players can summon Origin armor. Outside armor, physical power drops to 20 and normal weapons are weakened. He realized ignorance meant death. He frowned. This forced humanity to rely on Origin energy, where players surely had the edge. The world channel exploded, some amazed, others outraged, some calling it betrayal of Blue Star. Yunki muttered, confused at the surge of rebellious chatter. Reading closely, he learned Blue Star leader Yu Wenjun chose the player faction, clashing with war god Fang Qion and Zhongdu, sparking public fury. He froze. Could such titans truly wage war in Zhongdu already? Skipping the noise, he focused on analyzing updates for advantage. The system announced the anonymous top NPC received the unique title Peerless, 25 attributes, access to Divine Armory Vault, ability to issue Peerless quests to players, upgrading every 10 levels. Yunki smirked smugly, thrilled to be the sole owner of this title, and officially fancier than the other leaders. He stared at his hand, buzzing as the Nether Knight's power would skyrocket with each level. Being on top felt great, though he still wondered what that divine weapon treasure really was. Suddenly, the car screeched to a halt as autopilot detected an obstacle. He blinked in shock at the scene ahead. A group of people had blocked the road out of nowhere. The leader pointed a stick at him and barked for him to get out. Yunki stepped out, eyeing their shiny Origin energy battle armor and thinking it'd be a crime not to use his system perks. The system announced his first armor craft would lock its form modeling complete, armor equipped. The armor wrapped around him, gleaming with metallic brilliance. He faced the group, tension creeping in. The thugs laughed, mocking the heavy armor as unfit for running, calling him stupid and planning to steal the car and let zombies finish him. Yunki coldly asked if they feared no punishment for robbing and killing. The leader sneered, dragging his stick, scoffing that even the Alliance fled. Who could stop them? Only the strong have a voice, he bragged. Before he finished, Yunki threw a heaven-shattering punch. The blow sent him flying and slamming hard into the ground. His underlings shrieked, outraged that anyone dared touch their boss. Yunki replied coolly that since the strong rule had be the executioner, the system logged a defeated LV8 target and awarded tech points. He frowned, pondering what tech points actually did. Reading carefully, he learned the divine weapon treasure was for those with the supreme title. Holding a purple nana-shifting weapon, it required enough tech points to unlock. Clearly the real prize wasn't NPC authority, but this treasure. He decided to exploit the child of the plain talent to farm tech points first. Skill activated, the system confirmed tech points from the treasure were now multiplied tenfold. The underlings roared and charged to avenge their boss, while Yunki smirked, seeing walking point packages. Dahai let out a thunderous roar and lunged straight at them. Its sheer strength threw the group into chaos. A blond man screamed in terror that the dog tore through armor. Its power was absurd. Yunki smirked in praise of Dahai, calculating that at level 12 with boosted stats matching his own, the beast could rule the wilds. Another thug panicked and tried to flee. Yunki pressed his blade to the man's throat, chillingly inviting him to stay and have fun. The man's screams echoed everywhere. The system reported 3 more LV7 eliminations, rewarding tenfold tech points. Yunki beamed at the rich harvest, nearly enough to unlock the treasure. Suddenly, a strange voice remarked that he was strong for an NPC. He spun around to find a silver-haired girl casually sitting on his car. Instantly wary, he was shocked. Shed appeared so silently that neither he nor Dahai noticed. The girl flipped down gracefully, introducing herself as Zhang Xiaoduo, 19, a player, and cheerfully called his name. She held out a strange item, saying the player faction tasked her with delivering it to him. But the next second, Zhang Xiaoduo abruptly attacked, a flash of light rushing toward him. Yunki was stunned, recognizing the light as a player-exclusive skill. He immediately swung his sword and charged forward. Zhang Xiaodu paused, swiftly drawing twin blades to block. She complained why he attacked suddenly. Were NPCs this aggressive now? Dahai roared and lunged, but she kicked it hard, sending the beast flying back in pain. Yunki tensed, realizing her speed far exceeded his 67 agility points. She dodged and countered Dahai effortlessly, definitely not to be underestimated. Zhang Xiaoduo hurriedly demanded an explanation before they continued fighting. He suspiciously argued she struck first, glowing all over like she was ambushing him. Flustered, she retorted that the glow was just a quest completion XP effect, not a sneak attack. Zhang Xiaoduo snapped angrily that Shed even brought supplies from the player faction. If she meant harm, she wouldn't bother with such hassle. Yunki checked the crate, medicine and food, guessing the quest tied to Lu Xin, at least confirming she was safe. He asked about the mission. Zhang Xiaoduo blinked, explaining it was a special skill higher tier NPCs, meant bigger XP rewards. She chirped that the client also paid 20 re-coins to escort him to the next city, promising top-tier protection. Yunki flatly refused and told Dahai to roll out. She froze, whining about being ditched and bragging she could handle small mobs. But he coolly said he had zero interest in traveling with players. He floored the gas, leaving her shouting about her failed quest. In the rearview mirror, he saw her still tailing him, wary she was too strong and might treat him like a high-level monster. Keeping her close risked betrayal and treasure delays. A notification popped up, eligible to unlock the first tier of the divine weapon talent tree. He confirmed instantly, eager to see the mystery loot. The system activated it, consuming 30 tech points. All weapons upgraded to SSS durability with nano-sizing ability. His sword suddenly blazed with radiant light. He gripped it, thrilled at max durability, no more breakage worries, and grateful Zhang Xiaoduo hadn't seen it. He couldn't help glancing back in the mirror. Zhang Xiaoduo was still pedaling furiously on a beat-up bicycle, yelling Shed stick to him for the reward. He was baffled that she could keep up with just a bike. Helpless, he looked away, pretending not to hear her endless shouting. The system alerted Li Ting was live-streaming players descending on Novus Village, drawing over 13 million views with a direct link. Yunki frowned, wondering how it pulled such insane traffic. Clicking in, he saw chaos, people fleeing as someone screamed that they've arrived. A chill ran through him. He suspected it was the brutal player faction. The feed showed a building exploding, smoke everywhere, armed players hunted fleeing weaklings as screams echoed. A man cornered and begged the leader for mercy, too exhausted to run. The leader coldly slashed him down, sneering that monsters are born to die, leaving the victim shrieking before collapse. Suddenly, a buzzcut man stabbed him from behind, shouting he'd kill the devil. The leader fell, dissolving into digital fragments. The buzzcut man panted, trembling yet ecstatic at slaying the butcher. But a beam pierced his chest next, blood spraying as his sword clattered down. A female sniper appeared, smirking that players only lose some XP on death, unlike civilians. She bragged about her kill count, sparking a snarky comeback from a female teammate about sniper speed advantages, while another guy up front yelled to join the action. The cold-blooded players kept slaughtering, shouting and killing for fun despite desperate pleas. A woman clutching her child sobbed before the camera, begging the army and law for rescue. Through tears, she condemned the killers who treated lives like weeds, pleading just to survive. Yunki clenched his teeth, heart twisting at her cries for justice and a normal life. A savage voice announced 2 survivors. The revived leader grabbed the girl's hair, mocking that even monsters have a world channel. He introduced himself as Huang Tianhao, captain of Team Dusk, and broadcast the coordinates of Novus Village 2689. He then hurled the girl aside, declaring viewers should remember his face. Laughing wildly, he raised his blade and chopped toward her head, warning anyone who met him to run. Covered in blood, the woman still crawled desperately toward her crying child. She screamed and begged for her child's life, but her broken body couldn't reach the child in time. The leader, cold as a demon, hacked the child down, the tiny cries snuffed out in a pool of red. The mother wailed in despair as the system icily announced the broadcast would end in 10 seconds. Huang Tianhao grinned wickedly, savoring his atrocity. Chaos spread as vicious players whooped and slaughtered, even tormenting children for XP like lives were leveling tools. Elsewhere, two vehicles sped side by side. Zhang Xiaoduo, panting on her motorbike, teased him about regretting her rejected protection. Yunqi stayed grim, silently watching the stream and wondering if the killers were truly Team Dusk. She frowned, acting indifferent as if it wasn't her problem. Then she felt the icy killing intent radiating from him, his eyes blazing with fury. Startled, she warned that Huang Tianhao abused his father's influence, and as an NPC without the world map unlocked, Yunqi couldn't possibly find or fight them. Unmoved, Yunqi calmly asked her for a small favor. She crossed her arms and refused. She only did quests, not favors for NPCs. Instantly, the system blared. NPC Yunqi issued a supremateer quest to share the world map, rewarding massive XP and currency. Xiaodu gasped. Overjoyed, she thought supreme quests were for level 90, and this one just needed map sharing. No way she'd skip it. She accepted at once. She opened the map interface and located Novus Village 2689. The system congratulated her, level up to 11,400 Doomsday coins earned, favorability with Yunqi 100. Yet still cold, she beamed at the outrageous payout. Stroking her chin, she eyed Yunqi, plotting to cling to this walking jackpot for more quests. Yunqi turned the wheel, thanked her coolly, and declared he'd locked onto his destination. He bluntly told her she didn't need to follow anymore. Xiaodu panicked, stunned at being ditched. She grumbled about his heartlessness and scolded his haste since Zhongdu was still far away. Watching his route, she focused on the red dot marking Novus Village. Suddenly, she realized it was the very place where Huang Tianhao and Team Dusk were massacring. Cold sweat broke out. Remembering his icy gaze, she became certain he intended a head-on clash. Scene shift. After 4 hours of driving, Yunqi stopped before Novus Village, the earth cracked and the air thick with blood. He stepped out with Dahai trailing, lifting his head proudly and wondering if Huang Tianhao was still around. Right then, Zhang Xiaoduo reappeared on her bicycle, blocking him. Annoyed, he asked why she kept tailing him. Squinting righteously, she said she was here to stop him from doing something stupid. She stored the bike and warned that entering Novus Village would downlevel everyone, NPCs, players, even Dahai, and told him to check his stats. His panel showed level 9 instead of 12, strength, agility, spirit, physique all slashed, his tenfold tech point talent disabled, leaving only undead manipulation. He frowned, confirming every stat was forcibly suppressed. Checking Dahai, he saw it too had dropped to level 9, now looking like an ordinary pet dog. He decided to leave Dahai to guard the car and supplies, promising to return. The beast looked confused but obeyed. Xiaodu fumed that he still insisted on hunting Huang Tianhao, shouting it was suicide. The system suddenly issued a high-tier quest, protect the Hound Dahai, for huge XP and currency rewards. Except Zidu was dumbfounded, cursing the binding quest, yet the massive reward tempted her ambition. She angrily demanded his motive. Team Dusk could respawn, but he had only one real life. Yunqi coldly replied that Huang Tianhao's cruelty demanded justice. No matter how many times they revived, he would stand against them to keep Lanxing from becoming hell. Corpses littered the ground, blood soaking the earth. Yunqi sighed, recalling the massacre just hours ago. Rage churned as he feared had arrived too late. The many players from the stream were now nowhere in sight. Suddenly his eyes flashed. Target found. 3 brutes were torturing someone, but upon spotting Yunqi, they turned to face him. The top-knot man laughed in delight, amazed at a rare level 9 NPC, praising the gear while mocking him. The short-haired girl stared too, surprised a starter village NPC could look this striking. Unfazed, Yunqi strode forward and demanded Huang Tianhao's whereabouts. They burst out laughing, calling him a stupid NPC for walking up and daring to ask for Brother Hong. They sneered that the 3 of them were enough to kill him, no need to trouble Huang Tianhao. The short-haired girl clicked her tongue, lamenting she was still 1 level below her level 8 teammates. The bald man eagerly activated a high-speed charge with boosted attack, aiming to claim the kill. He stacked another power skill, his strength surging terrifyingly. Yet Yunqi leapt aside, the bomb-like strike smashing into the ground in a cloud of dust. He noted the force exceeded his own tank at head-on, and his armor would shatter. The bald man froze, grinding his teeth in fury at the failed blow. Not giving him a second, Yunqi delivered a sky-crushing kick to his face. The bald man spat blood, flying into a wall with a painful groan. Yunqi retreated, readying another strike, coolly boasting his build prioritized absolute speed. The top-knot panicked and hurriedly raised a shield. Yunqi's sword flashed, piercing shield and armor into his chest. Blood sprayed as he cursed. Lucky his armor reduced some damage. Enraged, he shouted for the female teammate to attack, even fearing she might betray him for the top spot. Suddenly, a flash behind Yunqi, a bullet shot straight at him. He frowned and dodged, but his armor durability dropped, fueling his anger. Turning back, he saw the short-haired girl aiming at him, eyes brimming with killing intent. She smirked, regretting she couldn't keep him around for fun. Unwavering, Yunqi finished off the top knot and mocked that they weren't worthy to stall him. The bald man stood stunned, trembling as his boss dissolved into data. The system announced rewards and a new skill, Death Interference, unlockable for upgrades after killing 100 more players. He shivered slightly, finally understanding why he'd gained no new skills before. With icy eyes, he decided to test the newfound power. A chant echoed as a ghostly mass shot toward the female sniper. A violent explosion rang out, her body dissolved into digital fragments. Electricity crackled around Yun-Ki, terrifying the bald man. One move, instant kill. Yun-Ki closed in blade at his throat, coldly demanding Huang Tianha's location. Terrified, the bald man knelt, spilling exact coordinates and admitting he'd called reinforcements. Killing intent soaring, Yun-Ki forced him to share his map and radar precious player privileges. Trembling, he complied. The system showed a 10-minute usage limit, making Yun-Ki ponder a workaround just as a strange alert sounded. Yun-Ki turned to see the bald man's head fragmenting into data, face fading away. Green gloom flared in Yun-Ki's eyes as he coldly warned Huang Tianha to prepare for judgment. He plunged into the night, certain the enemies in that high-rise would soon taste fear and death. Scene shift. 3 shadowy figures gathered beneath a yellow marker in a dark corner. A blonde crewcut growled about the sword wound's agonizing pain, cursing the game's absurdity. The bald man worried they couldn't handle that boss and suggested selling intel to Huang Xiao for profit. The blonde mocked his cowardice, insisting they target that precious sword to grow stronger. The blonde rallied for a rematch, the bald instantly echoing him. But the third guy broke into cold sweat, sensing something was off. He checked his status and panic level dropped from 8 to 7, stunning them all. The bald screamed, clueless why he'd deleveled, and gained a bizarre death mark. System confirmed for 10 minutes, all stats reduced by 10. The blonde roared in rage, since when did a starter village have a level-draining boss, while others fumed over shattered gear and his lack of mercy. Grinding his teeth, he vowed revenge for the lost level, but teammates warned the monster might be hunting Huang Xiao. He ordered word sent out. Only Huang Xiao could handle this, sparking excited agreement. Cut back to Yun-Ki, scanned coordinates 263-8046 but found no Huang Tianhao, guessing he was late after earlier fights. 3 more players rushed in from afar, shouting Huang Xiao would avenge them. Sword in hand, Yun-Ki leapt into the thick night. Amid chaos, his icy gaze swept fleeing players as rumors spread Huang Xiao had relocated. He tightened his grip, noting players looked just like land-seeing humans, hard to believe they were alien invaders, and pondered their respawn tech. He briefly suspected this world was a simulation, then dismissed it. Only revenge mattered, though Huang Tianha kept shifting coordinates to dodge him. Suddenly, golden lights flared in the distance. Yun-Ki halted as the scene shifted. Ahead, Team Dusk's leader chuckled, thrilled at the massive XP haul. Other players rushed over, relieved to find Huang Xiao, reporting a strange monster invading the starter village and causing deleveling. He frowned and demanded its location. Someone yelled they didn't know, just that it was level 9, absurdly strong, dropping level 8 players instantly. He himself was proof. Under moonlight, Yun-Ki appeared calmly, whispering he'd found his target. Before him stood 50 players as green radiance flared around him. He declared coldly that humanity had the right to survive, and their hope wouldn't be stolen. His finger tapped the interface. The system asked whether to initiate livestream. The world channel exploded. Anonymous broadcast. Netizens argued, some cheering, others doubting his strength. Touching his face, eyes resolute, Yun-Ki thought the real threat wasn't players but human cowardice, and vowed to be the spark of courage. A world message appeared from someone named Fang Qian, openly stating his identity and team. Scene shift. A blindfolded man spoke gravely from a chair, urging humanity to survive with resilience. Facing the killing aura of the crowd, Yun-Ki smiled cruelly, saying he'd test their so-called immortality. Nearby players mocked him for walking into their lair. Huang Tianhao stood center stage, launching his own stream to show the world how he'd torture this boss. Yun-Ki replied calmly that today's corpse might be him instead. Huang Tianhao raged, boasting he was an immortal player. Yun-Ki didn't argue. He dashed forward lightning fast. Huang Tianhao reeled at the terrifying speed, fearing level loss, screaming for sniper support. But sniper volleys were useless. Yun-Ki moved too fast to hit. He surged ahead like a raging storm. Furious, Huang Tianhao cursed his team and ordered beast tamers to summon creatures to block him, promising big rewards. Instantly, they called their strongest pets, confident a few minutes would finish the boss. The summoned beasts roared and charged fiercely. With one Jadagreen slash from Yun-Ki, they all dissolved into data in a blink. The remaining beasts trembled and retreated at once. Players shrieked in disbelief at the one-hit wipe, urging each other to resummon. Huang Tianha bellowed that rare beasts could be rotated to exhaust the boss anyway. The system announced all dead pets were on 10-minute cooldown, draining Huang Tianhao's color. No more rotation tricks. Yun-Ki smirked, realizing the death mark didn't erase summons, but rendered them useless. Time to end this fast. He charged in, Jade Blade blazing across the battlefield. Enemies fell in waves. No one survived his slash. The system spammed rewards. Divine weapon tech points piled up. Players wailed as their pets were wiped in moments. The foe was a nightmare of speed and power. Huang Tianhao ground his teeth, fearing humiliation more than XP loss, refusing to lose face. He quickly reorganized Team Dusk, rallying them to kill the boss together. A confident female sniper stepped forward, claiming at 10 paces her shot never missed, aiming coldly at Yun-Ki. But Yun-Ki moved like a phantom, icy gaze slicing through chaos. Some cursed in panic at missed shots, others secretly admired his ghostly footwork. Yun-Ki calculated that dodging bullets only required being faster than their reflexes, and these players were slower than Zheng Xiao duo. He exhaled in relief for keeping her busy with a quest. Had she joined them, she'd be a disaster. Sweeping his gaze over the frantic crowd, he saw mere minnows. Enemies shouted they were out of ammo, panicking as he closed in. Another squad bravely charged with swords, swearing he couldn't wipe them all in one blow. Yun-Ki coldly activated death interference. Dark energy bound them. Even the burliest dropped to their knees, screaming before the monster. He landed, crushed one skull underfoot, and launched straight at Huang Tianhao. Players shrieked warnings for Huang Xiao to dodge. Huang Tianhao arrogantly raised a shield worth 3 million, boasting nothing could pierce it. Yunqi sneered perfect budget to test his blade. His sword flashed, piercing shield and armor, stabbing through Huang Tianhao's throat. Ice-wide, Huang Tianhao dissolved into data reward 50 tech points and treasure x10. Players were stunned. Huang Xiao slain live. On the World Channel, chatter exploded. The anonymous fighter was formidable, a spark of counterattack, though many enemies remained. Two female assassins suddenly lunged, blades aimed at Yunqi. Another slash intercepted, killing one assassin instantly. The other barely reacted before Yunqi closed in, scolding her for sneak attacks. He kicked her flying to the ground. He realized someone faster had just saved him by blocking that strike. The undead hound barked sharply. A girl gestured, calling the undead hound her little ancestor. Yunqi turned. It was Zhang Xiaodu. She smugly thought Shed slipped the quest trap and anticipated more surprises from him. Players cheered as Huang Xiao responded, offering 1,000 doomsday coins to stall the boss. Crowds surged forward, fired up by the bounty. Yunqi pondered, too many foes, fragile gear, he must finish this quickly. The system warned of two enemies on the left flank. One leapt down, eager to claim the 1 coin prize. Yunqi blasted him away with a death skill. He was surprised thanks to the live stream. Fang Yuan Shuai predicted moves perfectly, truly worthy of his name. Fang Yuan Shuai spoke up, promising target callouts and urging him to keep humanity's flame alive. Another foe still charged with sword raised. Yunqi slashed his leg, blood gushing. Fang Yuan Shuai warned him to dodge. The right side attacker was striking. Yunqi leapt aside, leaving the foe stunned. A kick smashed into the man's face, blood spraying. Fang Yuan Shuai cheered, praising Yunqi's elite soldier reflexes. A nearby girl scoffed, fast, sure, but lacking raw combat power. Fang Yuan Shuai retorted that holding off a dozen was impressive. She only complained because he hadn't killed faster. Gritting his teeth, he argued Yunqi's strength was superior, adapting swiftly and deliberately stalling to disrupt enemy respawn coordination. Even before instructions, Yunqi anticipated and acted. His learning curve was terrifying. On the field, death interference bound foes tight. They screamed in panic. Yunqi's icy eyes signaled the end. Huang Tianhao reappeared, clad in golden armor, sword and shield in hand. He smiled darkly, thanking teammates for buying time, declaring the monster's execution. Players erupted in cheers as Huang Xiao respawned yet again. Huang Tianhao trusted his outrageously expensive armor, stacked with bonus stats. He roared about the vast gap between humans and players. Yunqi smirked, eyes sharp, echoing the word difference. Huang Xiao blitzed forward at terrifying speed, but Yunqi casually lifted his sword and blocked with ease. Huang Tianhao was horrified. How could superior gear mean nothing? Silent Yunqi knocked him flying like trash. He mocked him for improving, then his gaze turned glacial. Without pause, Yunqi thrust straight through Huang Xiao's chest. He mused that greater strength only deepened the sting of defeat. Huang Xiao screamed in unbearable agony. Before dissolving, he threatened to respawn stronger with more allies for revenge. Bound players panicked. Some doubted Huang Xiao's might, others insisted they'd find Yunqi's weakness. A man named Yang stared at Yunqi's back, fearing he'd be next. Suddenly, Yunqi shot forward, terrifying everyone. A girl gasped, thinking the boss was retreating after overwhelming so many. Another suspected had only come to teach Huang Xiao a lesson. One mocked that the boss was scared. The girl hesitated but opened Huang Xiao's livestream to check. In a private channel, Zhuer Q urged retreat, Shen Jin demanded more killing, Debing argued back, and Wang Xitong agreed survival mattered most. Yunqi sped ahead, eyes locked on his prey. Watching the stream, the girl jolted. Yunqi's silhouette appeared in Huang Xiao's feed. She realized he was camping the respawn point. Huang Xiao raged over deliveling, vowing to summon people to capture Yunqi alive. Yunqi closed in, sword clenched tight. A slash tore open Huang Xiao's abdomen, blood spraying as he howled. The girl stared in shock. Fang Yuan Shuai and his teammate were equally stunned. Yunqi stood at the line of life and death, facing an entire battlefield alone. He raised a hand, unleashing violent death energy. Huang Xiao shrieked miserably. Before fading, Huang Xiao stammered, trembling, asking how Yunqi knew. Yunqi replied coldly that flashy players were easy to track. Amid smoke, Huang Xiao respawned behind him. System alert level reduced to LV5. Panic set, and he knew he couldn't win and just wanted to preserve levels. He tried forced logout, but the system errored, unable to exit the game. Terror struck, he barely processed it before Yunqi blitzed in. A critical strike erased him instantly. Yunqi's icy gaze fixed on the respawn point. The moment Huang Xiao reappeared, Yunqi pierced space with a slash, taunting, does it hurt? System LV4. No mercy, another critical blow, voice frosty, humiliating. System LV3. Alerts continued. LV2. Huang Xiao wailed as Yunqi mocked whether had ever truly faced death. Sword raised, eyes frozen. Yunqi declared that fear belonged to those who toyed with lives. The blade fell, blood splattering. The scene painted red like a death sentence for the defeated.